The rain struck the metal roof of the abandoned warehouse like 1,000 tiny fists, echoing through the vast, empty space. Amelia shivered, her hands trembling as she clutched her swollen belly. The coldness of the steel cage surrounding her seeped into her bones, and the flickering fluorescent light above made everything feel even more surreal, like a nightmare she couldn't wake from. Her breath formed small white clouds in the chilly air, proof that the place had no heating, no comfort, no humanity. She had never imagined her life would come to this. Once, she had been married to Ethan Hale, a millionaire entrepreneur loved by the media and admired by the business world. She had believed his charm, his promises, his sweet words. She had trusted him with everything she had. But he had changed slowly, then suddenly, late nights, secretive phone calls, arguments that intensified with every passing week. And then came Cassandra. Cassandra, the mistress with a model's face and a heart made of glass and poison. She treated cruelty like a hobby and manipulation like an art. Amelia had sensed her presence in Ethan's life long before she knew her name. She saw it in his cold eyes, in the silence between their breaths, in the way he flinched when she touched him. And when Cassandra finally stepped into their lives openly, Ethan didn't bother hiding anymore. He embraced the chaos she brought like a man possessed. Now, Amelia knelt in a cage like a prisoner, a woman 8 months pregnant with a child she had always dreamed of having. Her lips were cracked, her knees bruised, and her heart kept breaking over and over again as she wondered how someone she had loved so deeply could watch her suffer like this. Cassandra's high heels clicked loudly as she approached, her laughter sharp as glass. Ethan walked beside her, his expression unreadable, but his body language dripping with detachment. "There she is," Cassandra cooed mockingly. "Our little pet." Amelia forced herself not to cry again. She had cried enough. Instead, she lifted her chin and met Cassandra's eyes with a strength she didn't feel. "Please," she whispered, "let me go home." Cassandra smirked cruelly. "This is home now." She reached through the bars and grabbed Amelia's chin roughly, squeezing until Amelia winced. Ethan watched silently, his jaw tight, but he didn't stop Cassandra. He never stopped her. "You know," Cassandra said softly, venom hidden behind her sweetness, "I used to think you were strong. But look at you. Weak, pathetic, and pregnant with a baby Ethan never wanted." Amelia's heart cracked again. She knew Ethan had doubts, but hearing it said aloud felt like a blade against her soul. Cassandra stood and brushed off her dress. "We'll come back later. Don't go anywhere." Her laughter echoed as she and Ethan walked away, the heavy metal door slamming behind them. The warehouse fell silent again, except for the soft patter of rain. Amelia curled into herself, wrapping her arms around her belly protectively. "I'm here," she whispered to her unborn child. "I'm not giving up. Not on you." Hours passed. Maybe days, she couldn't keep track anymore. Every time she closed her eyes, she imagined escaping. She imagined holding her baby. She imagined being free. Hope flickered inside her like a dying flame, but even the smallest flame could survive a storm. One night, when the thunder outside shook the walls, Amelia heard a sound she hadn't heard before, footsteps, but heavier, slower, uncertain. The warehouse door creaked open, and for a moment fear paralyzed her. She expected Cassandra's cruel smile. Instead, a man in a maintenance uniform stepped inside, shining a flashlight around. His eyes widened when he saw her. What happened to you?" he asked, rushing toward the cage. Amelia sobbed with relief. "Please, help me. They locked me in. I'm pregnant." The man knelt beside her cage, fumbling with the lock. "Don't worry. I'll get you out." It took minutes, but to Amelia, it felt like years. When the lock finally snapped open, she nearly collapsed into his arms. He supported her carefully, helping her walk. "I'm Miguel," he said gently. "I clean this place sometimes. I didn't know anyone was in here." "Thank you," she whispered. "Thank you." Miguel led her outside into the stormy night and helped her into his old pickup truck. As the headlights cut through the rain, Amelia looked back at the warehouse, the place that had nearly become her grave. She vowed she would never return. Miguel drove her to the nearest hospital. Doctors and nurses rushed to her side, shocked by her injuries and condition. She spent days recovering, and each passing moment filled her heart with both dread and determination. The world believed Ethan Hale was a loving husband, a respected millionaire, a man of integrity. No one knew the truth. No one knew the cruelty hiding behind his perfect smile. But Amelia knew something else too, no one. The annual Westbridge Corporate Expo was packed with CEOs, investors, entrepreneurs, and media. But among them all, the most watched figure was Zaydan al-Rashid, the young Arab billionaire known for his ruthless intelligence and unmatched chess skills. Some called him a genius. Others called him arrogant. Either way, he drew attention everywhere he went. Across the hall stood Elena Carter, CEO of Silverline Tech. Brilliant, confident, and famously competitive. The two had crossed paths before, and neither encounter had ended peacefully. Today, their rivalry had the perfect battleground. A charity chess match in the center of the expo, surrounded by cameras. Closer to the crowd stood someone who didn't fit the scene at all. A quiet single dad named Daniel Brooks, dressed in his simple work uniform. He had been hired only for event maintenance, moving equipment and checking sound cables. But he had brought his 6-year-old daughter, Layla, with him because he couldn't find a babysitter. She sat silently beside him, holding her small sketchbook, watching everything with wide eyes. The chess match began with the kind of icy tension that made people whisper. Elena moved her first piece calmly, but Zaydan responded with a smirk. "You'll need more than confidence to beat me, CEO," he said smoothly. "Chess is not an app you can update when you fail." The crowd chuckled. Elena's jaw tightened. "I don't need updates to beat ego," she answered. Piece after piece moved, each one with the kind of precision only professionals had. But Zaydan soon took control of the board. After just 10 minutes, he leaned back, completely relaxed. "You should resign," he said. "This board is no place for someone who panics." Elena's confidence wavered. Cameras zoomed in. Reporters leaned forward. The match was slipping away from her. Daniel felt uncomfortable watching the humiliation unfold. He admired Elena. She was known for her honesty, something rare among CEOs. But he kept quiet, it wasn't his place. Layla tugged on his sleeve. "Daddy," she whispered, "the man made a mistake." Daniel looked at her, confused. "What mistake, sweetheart?" She pointed at the board. "The tall piece. He moved it wrong." Daniel squinted, trying to see from a distance. He wasn't a chess master, but he trusted his daughter. She had a strange gift for patterns. And she was right. Zaydan had moved his rook illegally. Daniel hesitated. He didn't want to interfere in billionaire business. But Layla tugged harder. "Tell them," she insisted. "It's not fair." Before he could respond, Layla suddenly marched toward the chess table. Daniel rushed after her, but it was too late. She spoke out in a loud, clear voice. "You moved the rook the wrong way." The room fell silent. Cameras spun toward the tiny 6-year-old girl. Zaydan frowned, surprised that a child had dared interrupt him. "Little one," he said kindly but amused, "I assure you, I know how to move a rook." Layla shook her head. "No, you don't. You crossed your own bishop. That's not allowed." Elena blinked, realizing the child was right. She turned to Zaydan. "Is she correct?" Zaydan looked at the board carefully. And for the first time, the arrogant billionaire looked genuinely rattled. "Yes," he admitted after a long pause. "She is correct." The audience murmured. But the moment that changed everything wasn't the correction, it was what happened next. Layla smiled and said something softly under her breath, in perfect Arabic. "Honesty always wins." The billionaire froze. He stared at her as if he had seen a ghost. You speak Arabic?" he asked quietly. Layla nodded. "Daddy taught me. And Mama used to speak it too." Daniel's heart clenched. He hadn't expected his late wife's language to emerge so suddenly in public. She had been born in Morocco, and he kept her heritage alive for Layla. Zaydan stood from his chair. Something in his expression softened from arrogance to deep respect. "Who is your mother?" he asked gently. Daniel placed a protective hand on his daughter's shoulder. "She passed away 2 years ago. She was from Casablanca. She was proud of her culture. I teach my daughter everything I can." The billionaire swallowed, emotion flickering across his usually cold face. "I knew someone like her," he whispered. "A woman who believed children should grow up between worlds. 2 cultures, 1 heart." Layla beamed. "Daddy says that too." Cameras captured it all. Zaydan, usually a symbol of wealth and power, kneeling in front of a child with genuine awe in his eyes. "What is your name, little one?" he asked. "Layla Brooks." "Layla," he repeated gently, "you honored the game today with your honesty. And your Arabic, it is beautiful." The crowd melted at the sight. Even Elena looked touched. Zaydan turned to Daniel. "You are a single father." Daniel nodded. "Yes. I take whatever work I can. She's my whole world." For a long moment, Zaydan studied him, not with judgment but admiration. "You are raising her with dignity," he said. "I respect that more than wealth." Elena, seizing the moment, spoke up. "Daniel, your daughter just saved my match. If you hadn't been here." He shook his head quickly. "She did it, not me." But Elena wasn't finished. "You know what I see," she said. "A father who teaches integrity. A man who works hard and still raises a brilliant child. People like you don't deserve to stay unnoticed." Zaydan agreed. "Come work for me," the billionaire said suddenly. Daniel's eyes widened. "Sir, I'm not offering charity," Zaydan said firmly. "I am offering opportunity. You understand people. You raise a child who sees the truth in a world full of lies. Join my team. You have the values my company lacks." The crowd erupted with surprise. Elena smiled. "For what it's worth, Daniel, if you choose him, you're choosing right. And if you choose me, I'll still take you." Daniel was speechless. A janitor, wanted by two giants in one day. All because his daughter believed in fairness. He looked down at Layla. She squeezed his hand. "Take the job that helps us, Daddy," she whispered. "Mama would want that." His chest tightened. He turned to the billionaire. "I'll accept your offer. But I want one thing." "Anything," Zaydan replied. "Let my daughter keep learning Arabic from your people. She wants to stay connected to her mom." Zaydan smiled warmly. "Then she will learn from the best. And she will always be welcomed as family." The crowd applauded as the billionaire extended his hand to Daniel. A handshake that marked the beginning of a new life. Elena sighed, amused. "Beaten at chess and at recruiting. Not my best day." Layla giggled. "You can still win next time." Zaydan chuckled. "Not if she plays." The expo lights glowed over them as a simple janitor and his daughter suddenly stepped into a world they never imagined. All because a 6-year-old girl spoke truth. And Arabic.